Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Go Big with Micha. Today, I am super excited to be talking to Erin Keam, a dear friend of mine who is also a marketing wizard. She offers shopaholic support, and she is a really, really experienced podcaster. So, this will be a lot of fun. Our topic today is recovering from compulsive shopping. But before we dive in, I want to encourage everybody. If you see this live, drop your questions in the chat. We try to get to them right away. And if you see the replay and you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or Erin. You have contact information in the event. And if you can find it, yeah, just reach out to me and I will connect you with Erin for sure. That is not a problem. So that said, let me tell you a little more about Erin. She's originally from New Zealand and has been living in Seattle for about a little longer than I have, right? It should be 10 years probably, something like that.
About 7, actually. You got here before I did.
Oh, okay. I thought you were right before me. Okay. And so Erin offers marketing and mentoring, and her new title is Money on Her Mind, which focuses on recovering from compulsive spending and under earning. Over shopping, under earning. Yes, yes. Oh my God, doesn't that ring a bell with everybody? Money on Her Mind. That's the title you want to keep in mind, and that is especially focused at women entrepreneurs. Her word for 2022 is clarity. And that's what she brings to her clients. Clarity in online messaging. That's where that bridges the gap between marketing and the coaching. Clarity in goals and strategies, spending plans, and choices. So that is if you have any questions about that, overspending, under earning, marketing, compulsive shopping, that's what Erin is, your girl. So I'm very excited to discuss how to recover from compulsive spending. But before we dive in, Erin, tell me a little bit, because this is called the Confidence series. How do you define confidence, or how do you see confidence in yourself or others?
Thank you, Micha. One way I get confidence is to call you. You always give me confidence. But confidence in regarding to spending, especially compulsive spending, the urge to shop beyond your means. Confidence to me is knowing that every dollar I spend is improving the quality of my life, and confidence in knowing that I am spending in alignment with my values and my priorities, and in a way that gives me peace of mind. Peace of mind has a lot to do with confidence.
Yep, yep. I love that. I absolutely love that. So let's dive in a little of how you came up with focusing on that topic. And I wanted to say I called it retail therapy in quotes in the announcement, just because it's such a common term, but it doesn't really do the compulsive spending justice. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that, because compulsive spending, of course, is kind of it sounds like a downer, and retail therapy sounds like fun, right?
But first of all, I've got nothing against retail therapy. I have a category in my spending plan: never use the word budget. If you're a compulsive spender or you have any issues around deprivation, the word budget will often trigger a binge. So I prefer the use of the word spending plan. I choose how I spend my money. And in my spending plan, I have a category for retail therapy. In my case, it's thrift stores. And always take Micha with you if you go to a thrift store, because that woman will find the best thing in the entire store. Believe me, I still absolutely love clothes. You can love clothes and still be recovered from compulsive spending. So no problems with the word retail spending, retail therapy, as long as it's in your spending plan, hopefully along with a real therapist. So what compulsive spending is, for me, how I discovered compulsive spending, and yes, The words like debting, compulsive spending, shopaholic all have negative connotations. And shopaholic especially has been a very derogatory term used particularly for women. And when you hear the word shopaholic, you will conjure up an image of perhaps that Sophie Kinsella very popular series of books about shopaholics, abroad, and shopaholic and daughter and whatever. And we always picture this woman carrying a whole lot of shopping bags. But I embraced the word because the word was actually how I found help. It was Googling the word shopaholic that actually got me help. So for me, about 10 years ago, I was 15 years sober. I'm 25 years sober now. And the thing about addictions is that it's a little bit like playing whack-a-mole. When you whack down one, something else often pops up.
Yeah. That's really, my uncle always told me when I was a teenager, choose your vices carefully, because you have like this amount for vices, so you want to choose them carefully and not waste that category on smoking or certain other things. So
I love that. I'm gonna take that. Choose your vices carefully, because that's part of what a spending plan is choosing your vice in a way, if that's how you want to look at it. I prefer to think of it as choosing your vision, but vice is bloody brilliant. I will nick that. So my life had been transformed by not drinking. I had sought help. I had found a community of people who had shown me a way to get sober. Through a series of action steps, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of internal changes, and a lot of support. So I knew how to put down alcohol. But the thing about putting down alcohol or drugs, like if you stop, it's a bit like putting a tiger in a cage and locking the cage. So you have to keep an eye on the lock. And you want to keep an eye on the tiger.
Right.
But the thing is, you can live a life without alcohol or drugs or cigarettes, say, for example.
Right.
But money, food, sex, people, not quite the same. I mean, you can't say, okay, I've got problems with money. I'm just not going to spend money ever again.
I just don't do money. Yeah.
I don't do money. No, thank you. No, thank you to money. I'm not having money today. It just doesn't work. I mean, the same goes for food. And most of us want people in our life. And I hope we're all having great sex. So it's a bit like you have to live in the cage with the tiger. You and the tiger have to come to some sort of terms of agreement.
Yep. My number one tiger is sugar. So that's that system is the same. You can just not completely avoid it in your life. Or you have to focus on it all the time, and not like alcohol, where you say, okay, cage, done.
Sugar is so hard to avoid. I really admire you for that. And sugar is a real addiction. I validate giving up sugar is incredibly hard to do.
Yeah. Tell me. I start a lot and then fall off the wagon immediately again. No, but let's stick with shopping, but that's good, because you can't just say, I don't do money, I don't do people, I don't do food. Those things are really a category of its own, compared to what you said first, the non-drinking, the no drinking, no drugs, no smoking. That is more like that's like really where you can eventually even forget the cage and the tiger, if you're lucky. Not everybody, but yeah.
Well, I don't have an urge to drink, and I haven't had an urge to drink in a very long time. It's been 25 years, and I don't have an urge to drink. But the urge to spend, I noticed about 10 years ago that I was treating money in the same way I had treated alcohol, as a pressure relief, as a way to deal with emotional pain, as a way to avoid things in my life, as a way to try and get, as a way to, as a silver bullet, so to speak. And I also noticed that I I really just couldn't get a handle on it. And I'm not that stupid. I mean, I tried everything
She's not
external.
stupid at
Not that
all.
stupid.
No,
Not
yes,
that
yeah,
stupid.
not stupid at all. Okay.
Yeah. So I tried all these kind of external cures. You know, I went to money management seminars. I
Mhm.
read books. I even attended real estate seminars, investment strategists, met with budgetary advisors. I even took accounting to try and get a sense of I can do this. I can manage this. I can get my head around this. But I had to realize I had to, at one point there was a repercussion that happened where I was like, okay, I can't do this on my own. I surrender. I need
Mhm.
help. I need
Yeah,
help with this. I
yeah.
can't do this alone. It's not an external fix, it's an internal fix. And
Mhm.
because I knew there was help out there for other addictions, I looked out, I found a community that helped with recovery from compulsive spending and shopping. Now, shopping is great. I love shopping. I still go shopping. I have an amazing wardrobe. But when shopping is
She
causing you
does, yes.
problems in your life,
Mm.
that's a different matter. And when
Right.
it's causing you emotional shame or pain or regret, that's a different matter. So I found help, and it was very similar to getting sober.
Mhm.
There was a series of action steps, there was internal reflections, there was changes, there was mindset changes, there were things I had to do, and there was a very strong supportive community. And if people are interested, reach out and I will absolutely put you in touch with those free resources.
Mhm.
But what I realized after being involved with that community for 10 years is that I'm actually a damn good coach. So now I offer women, if this is the first time I've
Mhm.
ever
Yeah.
spoken about this is the first time I've spoken about this in public, but I now am offering women who have compulsive shopping or compulsive spending issues coaching in how to recover. And I've come out of the closet. I mean, I've been
Mhm.
doing this behind the scenes for the last 10 years with other people, but now I'm actually owning up to it in real life and saying, yes, I'm a shopaholic. I am a compulsive spender. It did cause me a great deal of problems. It did cause consumer debt. I am now completely consumer debt free. I live a life of abundance, and I would love to help you do the same.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And the coming out of the closet that you are just mentioned, for you, it has a lot of layers, right? That coming out of the closet, because we say it so jokingly in this case, but with shopping, of course, shopaholic, that is of course a very close connection, because clothing is your thing, right? For other people, it might be
Clothing,
something very different.
exactly.
Um,
Clothing to me comes under many categories, and I have set aside
mhm,
enough money in my spending plan so I don't feel deprived, because clothing to
right.
me is a passion, it's art,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
entertainment, it was my job for a while. It's also
That's
called
what I
personal
wanted to
branding.
add. That for years you've been working as a stylist and style coach as well. So it's not that how does that tie in with getting sober of, I mean, of the spending addiction? Did you find that going shopping for and with others took care of your need
That
to?
you mean vicarious shopping?
Yeah. Is that a
Um,
compensation?
Mainly what I did with clients was we worked on identifying who they truly were, how
Mhm.
they wanted to present themselves to the world. So there was very few shopping trips. There was a lot of
Okay.
decluttering, because I am
Okay.
great at honing and
Mhm.
winnowing down to who you truly are. So I mean, I am an amazing declutterer, but
Yes, she is.
thank you. It was more about
Last
teaching
time,
them.
last time she helped me, the last time Erin helped me, that was before we moved this summer. I don't have a huge wardrobe already. So I'm doing quite a good job with that myself. But we still found 4 trash bags of things to go to Goodwill. 4. How's that even possible? Where were all these things?
And Mika has an amazing sense of style. I could live in her wardrobe. Honestly, I just wanted to rummage through there and try everything on. The woman has incredible style. It was so much fun. And then I think we watched that fabulous TV show afterwards, Making
Oh
the
yeah,
Cut.
yeah, yeah.
So it was a great day of fashion for us.
Right. So I think that's also an important thing to say when someone says, "Yeah, oh God," and I have gotten myself in trouble, like in debt with my spending. Uh, you don't have to cut yourself off from that world completely. This is not what this is about. Um, and so you can still watch the fashion shows without feeling like the addict who cannot have it any closer than on TV. You can still have a spending plan, go to stores, those things. So, what are the pitfalls that people really, really need to tackle, or what are the first action steps to get to that point eventually?
Oh, I love what you said about yes, the most important part of healing is not feeling deprived.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
very important with a spending plan to make sure you put yourself first and put creditors at the bottom, and that can be quite controversial. But we
Mm-hmm.
always say that my method says pay yourself first. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
you are not deprived, and that every single thing you want in your life is represented in that spending plan. Maybe you could only put $1 towards it, but we must make sure everything you want in your life, your vision, is represented in that spending plan so you don't feel deprived, because that helps with the compulsion to shop when you know your needs are going to be met. In terms of action statements, the first step is when you're drunk, the opposite of being sober is drunk. For women like me, for people like me with compulsive spending or compulsive money issues or shopping issues, our problem is vagueness. So for us, our version of being drunk is being vague. So the first step is to get aware, become
That's
aware.
interesting.
Yeah, get aware. You'll hit your bottom, whatever your bottom may be, and you can hit. If you're coming down that ladder, you can get off that ladder whenever you want. You don't have to crash and burn. It might be that you're just starting to see symptoms that are worrying you.
Mm-hmm.
But the first step is, once you've got that awareness, is to reach out for help. You can't do it on your own. But in the meantime, get a notebook, a real paper and pen notebook. Write down every single thing you spend, no matter how tiny, how insignificant it may seem, without guilt, without shame. This is data collection. You're just collecting data. Just write it down. Carry that notebook with you and that pen. The first step to connecting yourself to a soulful, holistic, healthy relationship with money is clarity. So write every single thing down and don't beat yourself up. This isn't about changing your behavior. This is just collecting data, and do that for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That sounds like a really good step to commit first, and I guess for most people that will bring up some self-judgment first, but probably that, like, reminding yourself over those 6 weeks, this is not what it's about. It's really just data collection. That is why that period needs to be a little longer, because otherwise we'll probably slide back.
Yeah, 6 weeks is recommended because it covers at least one full month. You want to
Yeah.
make sure you get
Yeah.
at least a month of expenses in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's also a great exercise to do with time. Track your time for a week is another great way to find out what's going on. It's data. After that 6 weeks, find a trusted person who is objective and unaffected. So this is not the time to go to your nearest and dearest. Find somebody who is like a coach like me, or someone who you can trust to be objective and unaffected, and who has a healthy relationship with money themselves, and ask them to help you look for patterns, because there's a very good chance that you are overspending in a couple of particular categories because there's some unmet need, or you're depriving yourself in other categories. So we say the truth is in the numbers. The numbers tell you what you value, how you spend your time, how you spend your life, what your priorities are, what your values are. What you spend your money on makes up your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course the time. Yeah, time. Yeah, it's time and money. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Now let's take one small step back when people, because this is when you are that step and you do that, that's when you start really committing. What are the red flags for people who are kind of, oh, you said vague before, wishy-washy about this? Like, maybe I have a problem, maybe not. It's not that I don't have that much money on my credit card. I know I can pay it off. So that type of thing.
So that's a great question. There are symptoms. And
Mhm,
some symptoms are quite extreme. You know, you have a dozen credit cards, they're all full to the max, you can't pay any of them off, and creditors are harassing you.
mhm,
Uh, you have a house that is full of possessions, but you're not happy.
yeah.
The word sale is triggering for you. You
Mhm,
are very easy to upsell because you get caught up in the hype of shopping.
yeah.
You feel shame or regret after purchases. You have an inordinate amount of purchase regret. Um, you deal with loneliness through shopping. Maybe you've got great relationships with the people at the counter at Nordstrom, but maybe your own
Mhm,
life, you don't have very close friendships. You are hiding your spending from other people. You are lying about your spending. It's causing problems in your relationship. It's causing problems with your work. You are having to keep secrets about it. You are scared to open your mail because you don't want to see your credit card statement. Or it can just be that you are starting to feel uneasy because you know what you're spending on is actually more based on your past than your
mhm.
future, and you're missing out on opportunities because you're overspending in certain categories, and you need some help in working out why.
I think that there are a lot of there's a lot in there, and I think what I really like about all these things you mentioned is that yes, there is that worst case scenario of having gotten yourself in serious debt, but there's also these other things that if they occur regularly are just indicators that you're dealing with an issue. It's like uh, being drunk once a year on your birthday, well, that's not necessarily an addiction. So that the one time a year is not necessarily an addiction to overdrink, but there are just so many indicators, even for people who never get drunk,
Yeah, and
that they have an addiction problem.
what about if you get drunk once a year, but during that time when you're drunk, you make a pass at your boss,
Yeah,
or you get really angry and you start an argument? What is
yeah.
actually happening to you when you are drinking? What is
Hmm.
happening to you when you're spending? Now, I'm not a debt counselor. I don't give financial advice. I don't give
Right.
investment advice. I don't negotiate with creditors. I can put you in touch with resources for that if you want to
Yeah.
clear up your credit, or if you need to refinance or you need to consolidate. You know, I do not do any of that. What I
Hmm.
help you do is look at the reasons behind why you got into the situation in the first place and how you can stop doing it again.
Yeah. Because overspending, like overeating, is at the core an emotional problem, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we're emotional human beings are emotional. I always say to people, ask yourself, and I used to say this to clients whenever they went shopping. First of all, what do you have in your closet? Always do an inventory. Uh, Make sure you love it as much as you love the thing in your item, the thing in your wardrobe that you love the most. But
Mhm.
also, what are you really buying here? What are you really trying to buy? Are you trying to buy self-confidence,
Mhm.
success, approval? Are you lonely? Are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you tired? Are you trying to buy an escape? What are you actually really buying?
Yeah. Yeah. That is a good question to ask yourself, even if you're not feeling like you're at the point where this is an actual addiction problem. I mean, this is a good question for all of us, because even if you don't have an addiction issue with spending, even if it's not compulsive, we all do that thing where we're having a bad day, and then either we're eating that pint of ice cream, or we're, I don't know, we're right on the Nordstrom sales page, right? So even it's okay if it's an occasional thing, but asking yourself, what am I really buying? What am I really eating? What am I really doing here? Is always a good question. That awareness. One thing, as you talked about symptoms, that struck me because I mostly work with women in male-dominated industries. So, and I know you and I, we've had a lot of conversations about like systemic injustices and the patriarchy and those things. So now you mentioned, for instance, um, that one symptom is to not tell others what things cost. So how much money you've spent. That is like a cliche thing, right? Like Sophie Kinsella, shopaholic. So that having the designer handbag, say, oh, this was just $50, is a cliche thing, and there are those a lot of jokes about women not being good with money and
Mm,
all women being compulsive spenders and ha ha joke. But it affects how women are seen as money managers, even if it's like one person's money or in a professional capacity, uh, in our society, isn't it?
oh, we could talk about the patriarchy for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas men are like, oh, boys and their toys,
Mm-hmm.
boys and their
Yeah,
toys. But with women, we are shamed. And we're
yeah,
often shamed by other women, which is horrific. But it's that we've been indoctrinated to do so.
yeah.
If shopping is frivolous, going to
Mm-hmm.
spend somebody else's money, you know, yes, women are shamed for spending. We're told, don't buy that latte, save those $4. We're not told go out and earn more money.
Yeah, yeah.
We're told that we need to save and stop and deprive. And if we do buy something glorious like a beautiful designer handbag, there is a lot of negative feedback that can come out of that. Yes, the patriarchy has a lot to answer for.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to make that clear, right? That those issues like compulsive spending, they don't live in a vacuum. And yes, there is the emotional background of your family, your past, that goes into that, but it's also society, and it makes it harder for women. Yeah, boys and their toys, that's fine. And yeah, somehow the trip to the Apple store is a very different thing than the trip to Nordstrom's. Yeah,
Yes, and I would,
to,
and
to, to just mention two of my favorite stores, right? I mean,
I
uh,
love Nordstrom.
yeah, I do too. Yeah. So how does working with you and working on this issue, how does that affect confidence?
Feeling that there's nothing more that knocks your confidence than not being able to trust yourself.
Mhm.
To beat When you're beating yourself up over a repeated behavior which is destructive you are sabotaging yourself, and to feel that you can't trust yourself, feeling that you can't trust yourself with money. And women are
Mhm.
told so many messages around why they can't handle money. So if
Yeah.
you've taken on any of that, plus that you have issues with spending money, and there is nothing shameful about it. It is so common. You are not
Mhm.
alone. So the confidence comes from knowing I can trust myself. I trust myself with money. I trust that I am making wise choices most of the time. We all have days, but none of us are perfect.
No.
This isn't, well, it's one day at a time a lot of the time, but knowing that you can trust yourself with money, and and trust yourself to build towards a vision of who you want to be, that's confidence.
I love that, because in the end it comes down to the self trust.
Mm.
I really love that. I would love to leave that at that. Just giving you an opportunity for people to reach out to you. Where can they find you most easily?
The easiest place is connect with me on LinkedIn. You're most welcome to do that. My name is down as Erin Keam, and the last name Keam. There shouldn't be too many of me on LinkedIn. Otherwise, please go to my website. And if you're a woman, and if you identify as female, and you are worried, you have the faintest hint that you might have an issue with money, and you want to find out a little bit more, book a confidential chat. Because maybe let's just talk about it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But just book a confidential chat and we'll explore that, and I'll point you in the direction. If it's not right for us to work together, I will absolutely point you in the direction of free resources and other people that can help you.
All right. And I want to add to that, if you want to hear more of Erin's beautiful voice before her new podcast comes out, The Money on Her Mind, there are more than 160 episodes of her past podcast that started as conversation about closets with my closest 1,000 friends and is now called I Interviewed 160 Women During COVID. I have listened to several of those episodes. They are delightful. Erin is a delightful podcast host, and she talks to a lot of great women. So there are great nuggets here.
And one of them
check
is
that out.
Micha. I'm going to overtalk and say, make sure you listen to the one where I talk to Micha, because it's brilliant.
Yeah, so much fun.
It's absolutely
so
fantastic.
Much fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, check it out. And I'm closing always with my favorite question ever. What's the advice you would give your 16-year-old self?
Find a community. Find people like you. Find people who have what you want and can tell you how to get it. Have a support system. You don't have to do this alone. There are people out there who can help you. You may not have them. You may not have them around you at the moment, but they are out there. Find your community. Find people who can help you.
Yes. Connection is really in the end the thing that we all need more than anything, right? Thank you so much, Erin, for being here talking about this. I am very excited to follow the next steps in your journey. Everybody, please reach out to Erin and talk about compulsive spending, shopaholic behavior, or thrift stores. She's great with that. So it's a passion. And I hope to see you again in actually 3 weeks. Next week, I am not here on Thursday, and the week after that is Thanksgiving for those of us in the US. So I'll see you back in December with very, very interesting topics. Please stay tuned and see you soon. Bye bye.